He didn't come into this world easy. Nothing about his life was ever going to be easy. But even from the start, there was something different about this man, something stubborn in his bones, something that refused to fold. He was born into a world that didn't have a road map for him, didn't have a welcome mat, didn't have a safety net. Just concrete, cold air, and the sound of survival. From school age, he worked. While other kids were playing, he was grinding. While other kids were figuring out who they wanted to be, he was already out here being something, carrying weight, putting in hours, learning what it meant to earn your place in a world that would never just hand it to you. That work ethic wasn't taught in any classroom. It was burned into him by necessity, by circumstance, by life itself. His name would change, Slim, Top Cat, Fatty Smalls, but the soul behind every name stayed the same. One man, one story, layers deep, scars deep, roots deep. He grew up knowing the streets, knowing the people, knowing what it looked like when life smiled at you, and what it looked like when life turned its back. And somewhere in the middle of all that knowing, he found music. He found words. He found a voice that could say everything his circumstances tried to silence. Now here is where the story gets heavy. Stevie Boy, the man behind the names, the man before the armor, was wrongfully incarcerated. Not arrested for something small, not picked up and let go. Wrongfully incarcerated, framed for crimes he never committed, locked away for something he did not do, by a system that decided his story didn't matter enough to get right. And it wasn't just a jail cell. It was an adolescent unit. It was abuse, physical, psychological, the kind that leaves marks you carry into adulthood whether you want to or not. The kind of marks that show up in your music, in your anger, in your silence at 3 a.m. when everyone else is asleep and you are still fighting the memories. They isolated him, cut him off from family, cut him off from friends, built a wall between him and the people who loved him, because isolation is a weapon, one of the oldest and most brutal weapons there is. If you can make a man feel alone, you can break him faster than any physical force. But here is what they didn't count on. He didn't break. He bent. He bled. He suffered things that would have destroyed lesser men. He carried weight that would have crushed most people's spirits into dust. But he did not break. Because somewhere inside Stevie Boy, inside Slim, inside Top Cat, inside Fatty Smalls, there was a fire that not even the system could extinguish. And that fire had a name. It was called Truth. When he came out the other side, he didn't come out quiet. He came out loud. He came out with heavy bass and hard-hitting vocals. He came out with bars that hit like fists, with rhymes that cut like glass, with a delivery that told you, without question, this man had been through something real. Because you cannot fake that kind of rawness. You cannot manufacture that kind of pain into art. What Top Cat Ox Slim brought to the mic was autobiography. Every line was a page from a journal that life forced him to keep. His style was loud, unapologetic, explicit. Not explicit for shock value, but explicit because the truth is explicit. Life doesn't censor itself. The streets don't censor themselves. The pain doesn't censor itself. So why would his music? He wanted the heavy bass because he needed the music to feel like the weight he carried. He wanted vocals that hit hard because his story hit hard. Everything about his sound was a direct translation of his lived experience, not a performance, but a testimony. He went by many names because a man who has survived what he survived understands that identity is fluid, that you become whoever you need to be to get through. Slim, lean, sharp, stripped down to essentials. Top Cat, the one who rose despite everything. Fatty Smalls, an ode to the great ones, a declaration that this man stood in the lineage of hip-hop royalty. But this story isn't just about rap. This story is about a man who looked at everything that happened to him. The imprisonment, the abuse, the isolation, the framing, the 15 years of celibacy, the loneliness, the grind since school age, and decided to turn it into an empire. His goals are not small. His goals are the size of the pain that shaped him. He wants to be a household name. He wants his voice on the radio. He wants a massive following. He wants a steady income stream. He wants to build something that cannot be taken away, not by the system, not by the people who tried to destroy him, not by time itself. He is building a YouTube channel for motivational talks and relaxation music. He is creating albums. He is developing video content. He wants his work downloaded to a physical hard drive, because a man who had everything taken from him understands the importance of owning what you create. This isn't just artistry. This is reclamation. This is him taking back everything that was stolen. After 15 years of walking through a desert alone, he is also open. Open to love, open to connection, open to finding someone who can meet him where he is, understand the depth of where he has been, and walk forward with him into whatever comes next. This is a man learning to be soft again after a lifetime of having to be iron. The desert is ending. The water is coming. And whoever is brave enough and real enough to walk toward him will find one of the most extraordinary human beings on earth. A man who was broken and rebuilt himself entirely on his own terms. Let's zoom out and look at the whole picture. A boy born into hardship, working since school age, trying to do right in a world that wasn't always trying to do right by him. Gets framed, gets locked up, gets abused, gets isolated, loses years of his life to a system that failed him with devastating completeness. And then he comes out the other side, not just intact, not just surviving, but creating, building, rising. He picks up a microphone and says everything they tried to stop him from saying. He goes by multiple names because one name cannot contain the entirety of who he had to become to survive. He makes music with heavy bass and loud vocals because quiet was forced on him, and he will never be forced into quiet again. He builds a following because connection is the antidote to isolation. He creates content because expression is the antidote to silencing. He downloads his work to a hard drive because ownership is the antidote to having everything taken. Top Cat, Slim, Fatty Smalls, Stevie Boy, whatever name they call you, you answered to all of them. You survived all of them. You built something with all of them. They framed you. You became your own evidence. They locked you up. You unlocked your voice. They isolated you. You are building a world that welcomes millions. You walked through 15 years of desert, and you are still walking, toward the water this time. After every injustice, every cage, every stolen year, you deserve every single thing you are building toward. This is not the end of the story. This is the moment where the ghost decides once and for all to be seen. Go be seen, Top Cat. The world is waiting.